Thanks for joining us for a brand new episode of Sports Final. I'm Alex Haessig.
And I'm Cam Pratt.
Cam, another busy week of action on the South Hill for us to recap.
Yeah, we got opening day games in Bombers Lax, but we also had some NCAA tournament games, some ECAC games in Cornell, so a lot to talk about.
Yeah, speaking of season opening games, the Ithaca men's lacrosse team welcomed Lycoming into Higgins Stadium for the first game of their 2018 campaign. Coming off a 13-4 season, the Bombers are looking to get off to another strong start. And they would get off to that strong start, already up 3-0 early on. Connor Crossan surveying the field, and he finds an open Jake Cotton, who has enough space to put this one home. He converts on that. Ithaca up 4-0. Now Bombers trying to extend this lead to 5-0 early. Stephen Morrell gets the step on his defender, gets all the way to the goal. He puts it home. Ithaca up 5. But Lycoming would answer here, and this goal is magic. You might not see it at first. We'll show you another look in a second, but Tyler Thompson out of the scrum gets the goal to go. But when we take a closer look, that ball is up for grabs. Thompson scoops it up, and he gets it in the goal, only way possible, through the legs. Warriors down 4 after that goal. But Ithaca had some tricks up their sleeve as well. Crossan putting the moves on. He finds a cutting Cotton, who hammers home the goal. He had 3 goals on the day for the Bombers. Now Lycoming in need of some offense. And Garrett Huff gets long-range shot to find the back of the net and cuts the deficit to 6. But if you thought the between the legs goal was impressive, this is a close second. Andrew Ream finishes this goal through the contact, his 9th goal of the year. But Ithaca was too much for Lycoming to handle. Josh De La Puca puts this goal past Lycoming's goalie. Ithaca wins this one 17-8, 1-0 on the season. Lycoming drops to 2-1. For more on the Bombers' season opening win, we'll send things to our very own Mackenzie Lozano.
The 18th-ranked Ithaca lacrosse team started their season as they took on Lycoming at Higgins Field this past Wednesday. Sophomore transfer Ryan Osvath, who came from Division I Stony Brook, led the team with 5 goals in his Ithaca debut as they defeated Lycoming 17-8. Ithaca men's lacrosse has captured 4 Empire 8 titles in the last 17 years, but takes on a new challenge as they transition to the Liberty League this 2018 season. Head coach Jeff Long has been with Ithaca since 1988 and has led the team to 9 NCAA tournaments, but says the Bombers need to increase their intensity as they enter the Liberty League.
Yeah, just the level of play is going to be way more intense, and you're going to have to put a full 60 minutes together for sure of good, hard lacrosse. And today we played maybe 18, 19 minutes of solid lacrosse, but we're going to have to increase it as the games approach us.
Coach Long, a former U.S. Naval Academy All-American and Ithaca's winningest lacrosse coach, is in his 31st season and says his biggest challenge is the generational gap between him and the incoming players.
But that's the challenge for me. Is I get older every year, and every year they're 18 when they come in, and that amount of years always is very interesting coming in and dealing with that age bracket.
He uses the mantra stack in 24s to help keep the team motivated on and off the field.
Take each day one day at a time. You don't worry too much about what happened yesterday, and you don't think about what's going to happen tomorrow, but you make the most of the day and of that practice and that opportunity, and then and it goes beyond the lacrosse field. It pertains to the classroom and your life and everything. So it's really just living life one day at a time and truly enjoying it.
The Bombers defeated Lycoming in their first game of their season, but will take on Skidmore for their first Liberty League matchup on March 10th. Reporting for Sports Final, I'm Mackenzie Lozano.
Thanks for that, Mackenzie. Well, despite a loss to RIT in the second round of the Liberty League tournament, Ithaca women's basketball received an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament where they had an opening round matchup against SUNY Geneseo. Team traveled up north to Medford, Massachusetts, looking to make it further in the tournament than they did last year when they were eliminated in the second round. The Bombers relied on defense for most of the game, and that was especially evident in the first quarter when they had 4 steals and scored 11 points off of turnovers, leading to a 30-21 halftime lead. The Knights of SUNY Geneseo then battled back in the third quarter. A 9-0 run helped them close the deficit to just 4, but that would be as close as they would get for the rest of the game. Julie Iacovoni for the Bombers, a big senior captain, who turned in another big performance, knocking down some layups to open up the fourth quarter and extend IC's lead. 2 big shots from Annie Giannoni towards the end of the quarter helped Ithaca to put the game on ice. Bombers 54-47 victory. Iacovoni 16 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals and 3 blocks in the game. Giannoni 12 points and some rebounds. Aaron Whoop contributed as well to the Bombers' victory. They moved on to play Tufts in the second round.
Now, last year, the Bombers were able to win their first round game over RIT, but fell in devastating fashion to New Paltz in the round of 32. The Bombers were hopeful to get over the hump and make their first Sweet 16 appearance since 2014 this time around. However, the Bombers were overwhelmed by number 12 Tufts University on Saturday evening. The Jumbos raced out to a 22-13 lead after one quarter. The Bombers pulled within 3 midway through the second quarter, but Tufts was able to end the half on an 8-0 run to head into the break up 35-24. Ithaca was never able to get back in the game in the second half thanks to an exceptional defensive performance from the Jumbos, who held the Bombers to only 15 second half points. Tufts went on to win this one 61-39. Now, Melissa Batista led the way for the Jumbos, pouring in 19 points, collecting 6 rebounds. Katie Martinson chipped in with 12 points off the bench for the Victors. In the season-ending loss for the Bombers, Cassidy O'Malley was the only Bomber to reach double digits. She had 10 points and 3 rebounds. Senior Julie Iacovoni ended her career with an 8-point, 7-rebound performance. Tufts will continue their quest for an NCAA title on Saturday against Messiah College. Now we're going to take a quick break, but be sure to stick around. There's still plenty to come on Sports Vinyl.
Welcome back to Sports Final. Well, Bombers' last season started up, as did Cornell. This week, our very own Dominic Tibbetts sat down with the defensive captain of the Cornell men's lacrosse team, Jake Pulver, to talk about this upcoming season.
I'm here with senior defenseman, the Cornell men's lacrosse team, Jake Pulver. Jake, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Jake, you're the defensive leader of this team so far. What do you need to do to make sure your guys are taking care of business on the defensive end?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of help down there with Christian Knight, who's a 5th-year senior goalie. So I'd say co-leaders, me and him, and just communicating with the guys and making sure we're all on the same page and keeping us all motivated to go out there at practice and compete with the offensive guys. We have a great offensive group with Jeff and some of those other guys, so they get the best of us sometimes in practice, but we really just try and compete with them every day.
And so you're the guy, you're put on the team's best players, and you got a big game against Albany coming up, #1 in the country. How does it make you feel? You know, you're the guy who is locked down on every team's #1 player, especially with a game against the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, I take pride in that, and with my training over winter break and stuff like that, I work out twice a day sometimes and just trying to get my body ready for matchups like this, going against players very smart and good with the ball, and I'll just try and do my best against them and play them physically.
And so is there anyone out there, any particular players that you think that you're going to see in some matchups later on in the season that worry you more than other players?
Right now I've really just focused on the next one. The kid that I'll be going against this weekend is very good. Played against him last year and had some good matchups with him one-on-one. So right now I'm focused on the kid at Albany. But there are some great attackmen in the Ivy League this year. Kid from Harvard, Morgan Cheek's good. There's a good one over at Yale, obviously, Ben Reeves, who's very good. And Princeton has a great one, Michael Sowers, too. So when we get into Ivy League play, I'll start focusing on those guys more. But right now I'm excited for the one this weekend.
Yeah, so sticking with the Ivy League, I mean, there's obviously tough competition, and we've seen you guys compete last year in a tough Ivy League, and there's new teams coming up in the powerhouse that Yale is creating now. Where do you guys see yourself being able to compete with the top teams like Yale in this year's Ivy League?
Yeah, we think we're right up there with them, and our goal this year is to win the Ivy League. We start off with Yale, Ivy League play on the Cough in a couple of weeks, and we'll come out firing for that game. We want to make a statement in that game.
And last year in the league before, actually second team all Ivy League in the past 2 years, like I said. This year, what are your goals? I mean, do you hoping to go for Defensive Player of the Year nationally, or is it something more humble?
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice getting those awards, but I just want to go out there and my goal this year is to be the #1 team in the Ivy League. So if awards come with that, then they come with that. But I want to go out there and win and play as a team. So.
And you are labeled, like I mentioned earlier, you're labeled as one of the best cover men in the conference. How does that make you feel? And do you feel like some of your other defensemen are maybe worthy of that kind of claim too on your team?
Yeah, no, obviously defense is a team thing. You can do well on your guy, but there could be other guys open and stuff like that. So this year I have a lot of good guys behind me. Fleet Wallace, who transitioned down to long stick mini, is doing to long stick is doing a very good job. Our short sticks, we have a good deep short stick group, and Christian Knight in cage has been fabulous. He really helps me, so I can force guys into bad shots, and Christian will eat those up and save them. So Christian helps a lot as well.
Yeah, so you touched on it a little bit. I just want to go into it more. You touched on the importance of your solid defense and the core defense that you're the leader of, and that kind of transponds and creates your offense. I mean, how important is it for both ends of the field, both offense and defense, to be clicking with each other?
Yeah, this year Coach Milliman's been good about talking this. We're not separate when we play on the field. We work together. So maybe if we've had a long possession, he'll let Jeff and the other guys know on offense to maybe work a long one on them so we have time to breathe. And this year we're really focused on protecting the cage, protecting Christian, having limited turnovers and giving up shots that he can eat up. He's a very good goalie, and we see bad shots as basically turnovers for teams because he'll save them.
So, you mentioned head coach. He's the interim head coach right now, Peter Millman, so touch on him. I mean, he's interim right now. I mean, what is that? Does that word even mean anything to you guys?
No, it doesn't mean anything to the team. We're treating him. He's our head coach. He's been doing an amazing job, and I expect him to be here for years to come.
So obviously, the team really there's no this kind of confusion about the departure of your coach from last year, and then this whole interim. There's just no feud.
No, we're focused on this year and this year alone, and we're gunning for that Ivy League shot and making a run in the tournament, like I said.
And so I heard you touch up on a couple of your teammates as well, but someone maybe no one really thinks of when they think of Cornell lacrosse, a teammate you think has a key opportunity to shine this season.
Yeah, I think one defensive midfielder, Kason Tarbell. He's a very quiet kid, mature lacrosse player, and knows the game very well. He plays box and is a great defender in box, and he does all the little things out in the field for us. He's on the wings. He picks up a lot of ground balls. Hopefully we'll start pushing some transition, and he'll get involved in that. But I think he's one of the unsung heroes of our team.
And this is for you now. You're coming in your last season as a senior here at Cornell. You have a solid track record. I mean, your records, your accolades don't lie. But at the end of the day, what's the most important thing you want to leave behind in your legacy when you leave Cornell?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we talk about a lot is leave it better than you found it. That's one of our rules here. And hopefully after this year, we can improve on the past 2 seasons that haven't gone so well, and I can leave this program better than when I came in. I can hand it off to the next group of guys better than I received it. And if we keep doing that, and every grade thinks that way, it just keeps getting better and better. So. Yeah,
and so we were talking before, you went to Fayetteville Manly's High School. It's in Central New York. Everyone knows Central New York, big powerhouse of a bunch of different high schools that have perennial powerhouse lacrosse programs. And you've come to, just outside of Central New York here to Ithaca, to Cornell. I mean, what you learned in high school being in a dominant program like the Fayetteville Manly's Hornets, did that give you a little bit, you felt like a boost when you came into Cornell?
Yeah, I think your mindset of just being competitive and wanting to win at everything really helps a lot. Most guys do come from winning programs, or they were the best kid on their team in high school, but it's kind of just putting that aside and just going out there and competing and starting fresh when you get here.
And that's all I got. So that is my interview with senior defenseman from the Cornell men's lacrosse team, Jake Pulver.
Thanks for that great interview, Dom. After we take a quick break, Ben and Emma will take over the desk and have all the latest results out of Section 4. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Sports Final. I'm Ben Carlton.
And I'm Emma Fruhling. We're here to bring you the latest from Section 4. Ben, start us off.
It was sectional semis in boys basketball this past week. Let's see what went down between Owego and Waverly. Waverly traveling to Owego for this contest. On the line, a shot at the sectional finals. Early first quarter, Owego slinging the ball around. Kobe Bogart drives hard to the rack, gets the layup to go, and one, fighting through that contact. Now going back the other way, Gavin Judson fires that pass down low, and Ethan McNulty converts off the beautiful dime right there. Owego's going to go on a run here, though. Beautiful bounce pass. First effort's not going to go down. Then Christian saves, fighting on the offensive glass, gets the putback. He's getting the and one of his own. A little bit later, Owego pressuring the ball. They knock it loose. Ball tipped up ahead to Will Donovan, and he's going to flush it. Look out below. We're going to take another look at that one. Not often you see the high school player getting up like that. 36-23 at the half. Owego fired up after that. Waverly not going to go away though. Dylan Ward attacks off the catch, hop step, and sinks it. That bucket brings Waverly to within 10. Now we're in the fourth quarter. Entry pass lobbed into Bogart. He's going to go up for the easy layup. He went for 20 in the 61-40 win. Owego moving on to the finals. Again, Owego beating Waverly in that one. We're not done though. Let's take a look at some girls basketball. Stop me if you've seen this matchup before. It's Owego and Waverly yet again. We're going to start in the third quarter. Ellie Nittinger on the break, getting the runner drop. Here's some more Nittinger, isolated on the wing, slams on the break, step back jumper. It's good. Nittinger had it going on in this one. Owego running some offense of their own. This is Anna Feliz, three-pointers stuffed, but there's no one in the way of her for the offensive rebound. An easy layup off the missed shot. She had 22 in the game. A little bit later, note to Waverly, don't leave Julia Sarge open from the corner. Money from over there, nothing but net. And into the fourth, it's Nittinger again. She explodes left, drives baseline, banks it off the glass. It's just a three-point game. However, that's as close as Waverly would get. Casey Donovan hits 2 late free throws to seal the win. Nittinger would finish with 31 points, albeit in a losing effort. Emma, what do you have in store today?
Starting off was a high school basketball matchup between Elmira and Ithaca. Let's take a look. Elmira girls hosted Ithaca. Elmira have been on top of Class Double A all year long. They showed their talent yet again in the semifinals, starting off strong. Kiara Fisher there, finding Zariah Demember-Shazer under the net for 2. Fast break here, Fisher, look at this, no look pass to Morgan Gentile, who finds Demember-Shazer for another 2 points. This time, Demember-Shazer going at it alone. She would take that up and put another 2. She led the Express with 21 points on the night. Ithaca hanging in there though. Jamie Lazda drives and gets the hoop, but Ithaca just can't keep up. Beautiful ball movement by Elmira here. Picture perfect. Getting it out to Fisher for the 3. Elmira would take the expressway to the championship game. See what I did there, Ben? Elmira, Demember-Shazer, 21 points. Fisher, 20. Gentile, just 10. Ithaca, Haverlock, 13 points. Lazar, 6 points. And Garsley, 4 points. Next matchup was one that kept everyone on their toes as Tioga faced off against Walton in the Class C semifinals. Class C semis 4-seed Tioga took on top seed Walton. The Tigers led by 2 at the half. Third quarter, Nick Glosner knifing through the defense for the and 1. The Glosner boys would be owning the court tonight. Example of that here, Lucas Glosner gets open, count the 3 and the foul. Tioga led by 10 in the fourth quarter, but Walton would come back late. Dylan Jacob with the ball here, stepping back and sneaking this one in. That would be 2 points. Warriors closing the gap, less than a minute to play. Jacobs open again. That would be the one that would tie it up, 45 with 10 seconds to play. Fans were going nuts on both sides of the court, just pushing their teams on. Here's Tioga's chance to win it. Klasner with the shot right at the buzzer here. Up and no dice. We head into OT to see who wins this one. The Tigers taking back control when it matters. Scott Saberski scores 2 of his game-high 16 points for Tioga there. Crazy game over at Walton, who falls 58-52 to Tioga. They are fired up for this one after a well-fought game.
That's all we have for you tonight.
Don't go anywhere. Alex and Cam will be back after the break with some college hockey updates.
Welcome back to Sports Final. Thanks, Ben and Emma, for the high school sports update. We now move over to the East Hill, where 6th-ranked Cornell women's hockey was coming off of a quarterfinal series win against Princeton. The Big Red moved on to the semifinals as they traveled to Potsdam for a game against the Colgate Raiders. Colgate ranked 4th in the nation heading into this game. Cornell with possession early. Pretty good puck movement here. They're going to try and sneak around the back, and they open up the scoring. That's Grace Graham who gets one in, but this would be a back-and-forth affair, at least for a little while. That's Colgate's Shelby Wood for Colgate's second goal. 2-1 now. Colgate going the length of the ice. Second period, some good puck movement again. It's Annika Zalewski for Colgate's third goal, now 3-1. Colgate once again with possession. And a little nifty move here, but they find the back of the net again. 4-1. This is where Cornell starts to get back in this game. Third period now. The comeback is on, and they find the net. It's 4-2 now. Get one back on the Raiders. Cornell with possession once again, and they are going to move it back around, set up the offense. Some good puck movement once again towards the middle, and that is another goal. That's Kristen O'Neill. And the Big Red are clawing back in at 4-3 now. Big Red going the other way, and it's the third period. We're down nitty-gritty here, and Cornell ties it up, but it would be Colgate who gets the goal to go up 5-4 with just 1 second remaining. That's Jessie Eldridge for the Raiders. And a heartbreaking defeat for the Big Red. The Raiders win at 5-4 in this one. As I mentioned, Jessie Eldridge with the goal. 5 different players scored for Colgate, 4 different for Cornell. And Colgate Raiders will move on to the ACAC championship game.
A tough loss there for Cornell, but now we're into March Madness. There's going to be a lot of broken hearts as teams are fighting for their playoff lives. Hockey and in basketball, we got the NCAA tournament coming up, championship week, and there was a wild game today I want to talk about. Radford versus Liberty, Big South championship game, and the ending to this game is absolutely insane. Radford looking to punch their ticket to the big dance, and Carla Jones hits the game winner to clinch the championship, an automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. First time that they have been there since 2009. Cam, what do you think of this shot?
That's just incredible. You know, you see this type of shot, and we're going to see some more with the big tournament coming up. But that's so exciting to see a team like that, such a young player, getting their team into the tournament for the first time and on such a clutch shot right at the end. And you know, Selection Sunday's coming up, so we got some more of that coming.
That's
right. It's going to be real exciting.
Yeah, who knows? You know, Cinderella's kind of pop out of nowhere. Maybe this Radford team can ride that momentum wave into the big dance.
Yeah, we've seen teams who have, you know, kind of surprised folks by getting into the tournament go a long way. You know, your very own Syracuse Orange, not expected too much to get into the tournament 2 years ago. They go to the Final Four. How are you feeling about their chances this year? You seem optimistic, more optimistic than maybe most would be, but if they can get in, they might be able to ride the wave for a bit.
No, yeah, I'm optimistic. I mean, they dropped 3 in a row, but they came back with a huge win this past weekend against Clemson at home, really grinded out type of game. So we'll see. They have to go to Brooklyn, probably win a game or two to be comfortable going forward, but who knows?
Hopes are certainly alive, and you know, with Selection Sunday coming up, what are you seeing from some of the top teams? Of course, Virginia, one of the biggest stories. They're in kind of uncharted territory, trying to you know, go in as a powerhouse this year. So we'll see what happens.
I think it's going to be a lot of parity this year.
Absolutely.
Anyone can win it. But thanks for joining us tonight. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Sports Final.
I'm Cam Pratt. Thanks for tuning in to an exciting week covering local sports on the South and East Hill. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.